Jenny and Joe were boyfriend and girlfriend. They played together every day, the breeze in their hair and flicker of multicolored lights from their cool new sneakers illuminating their smiles. You see, because Jenny and Joe were just first graders, but even then they knew that their love was meant to be. Their romance was a whirlwind of juice box lunches in a crowded cafeteria where only the two of them existed. At Joe's birthday party at Chuck E. Cheese, he let Jenny wear his birthday crown all day because he said he liked it when she looked like a princess. Joe liked chocolate ice cream and Jenny liked strawberry. When the top scoop of Joe's double-decker cone fell off, Jenny immediately replaced it with her single scoop of strawberry. She liked seeing Joe smile even more than she liked ice cream. And Joe said the chocolate was delicious, the strawberry was yummy, but the part where they melted in together, that was the best of all. After 5th grade, everything changed. Joe's family was moving to a state really far away. So one last time, Jenny and Joe climbed to the top of a hill behind their school where they would just sit and talk together. While up there, Joe reached into his pocket and gave Jenny a ring he had won in a crane game at the arcade. Well, he won it after using every penny of his birthday money to keep trying that crane because he knew that Jenny would just love the purple stone that was in the center of that ring. Jenny did love the purple stone in the center of that ring, and she said she would never take it off. Time and distance have a nasty way of getting in between the closest of couples and the best of friends. After a couple of years, Jenny and Joe just kind of lost contact. Their lives would go on in completely different directions. Jenny went on to college, and she was embarking on a career with a thoroughly brilliant future in the technology field. Her fortunes with love, though, had sputtered badly after her early success with Joe. Meanwhile, Joe was falling on really hard times. His parents had split, and life just really didn't seem to want to work out well for him. He tried hard, but it seemed that every avenue of life he ventured down resulted in a dead end or a head-on collision. 15 years to the day after Joe had given her her purple stone ring, Jenny found her crane game jewelry in a memory box she hadn't opened in over a decade. All the feelings of those early years came immediately flooding back to her. She couldn't believe that she hadn't thought of looking for Joe before this, but she was certainly going to find him now. Fingers trembling with excitement, Jenny took to the internet to find her first boyfriend. Joe had thought of Jenny often. Through the tough times, the memories of those days were sometimes the only things that could make him smile at all. He hoped all the best was happening for her, but he never sought her out. He felt his current life status would just be a disappointment for her. Jenny's advanced internet skills quickly led her on a tour of Joe's years since the two of them had said goodbye. She knew things hadn't been working out for him the way that he, or she, for that matter, had hoped, but that made absolutely no difference to her. Somehow, she knew that if they could just be together again, everything would work out fine. Jenny learned that Joe had been laid off from his job, and that had forced him to move back in with his mom. With a childlike enthusiasm she hadn't felt in years, Jenny boarded a plane, and in a few hours she was walking up the steps of Joe's mom's apartment. Jenny took a deep breath, smiled a huge grin of anticipation, and knocked on the apartment door. Joe's mom answered. She was looking understandably older, but alarmingly beaten down. Joe's mom immediately recognized her son's first love. "Jenny," she exclaimed, "it's so wonderful to see you, sweetheart." Jenny clasped the older woman's hand and said, "It's wonderful to see you too." But she couldn't hold back her excitement and enthusiasm, and she said, "Is Joe at home right now?" Joe's mom's eyes glistened, and she softly said, "No, honey, he's not." Things finally became a little bit too much for Joe to handle, and he took his own life last night. Jenny immediately crumbled to the ground. After crying and hugging Joe's mom for what seemed like an eternity, Jenny got back on an airplane. Not to go directly home, but instead to go sit on the hill behind their old school and leave the purple stone ring on the ground. The hope being that maybe some other young couple would find that ring, and it could find a much happier ending for itself. Now, guys, this is why you cannot even consider taking your own life, because you never know what's coming next. I mean, so many of you recently, and you guys are so young, and so many of you have come to me and expressed this feeling that you're actually thinking about this, that things have gotten so tough that this is something you're considering. And it hurts me. I mean, it physically hurts me when I read that. My chest tightens up and it hurts. Because, well, you guys know, especially those of you who've been with us for a long time, my goal for this channel was always to create a community. No matter what type of videos we've been doing, I always wanted that community atmosphere. Like, it's a big party for everybody to hang out together. And I'm so proud of the fact that we seem to have accomplished that. And so towards that end, I get a very paternal feeling towards you guys. I mean, it's like, I don't even know how many of you are out there. Whatever. It's like having 30-some thousand more sons and daughters, and 30-some thousand more brothers and sisters for Spaz Kids. You guys mean a lot to me. And when I read these things, it just slices me up inside. So that's why I wrote this story, and that's why I know it was kind of a kick in the groin the way it ended. But I wanted to drive that point home. You don't know what's coming next, and that's so important, because no matter what's going on in your life, no matter how bad things get, you have to trust me. I've been through this stuff. You have to trust me. That next big turn going the other way will show up. It may not seem like it, but it will. And I don't want to get too melancholy or go into this too much more. Just understand, like I say, I feel towards you guys like you guys are my kids. Now, let me tell you something, and you'll realize this as you guys, for those of you who don't already, who aren't old enough to have your own kids, when you have kids, you'll realize that the worst thing in the world is for a parent to bury their child. So given that, none of you have permission to take your own lives. You guys need to hang out here with me. Stay with me, because trust me, you never know when it's going to turn. You never know what's coming next.